Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So I want to do a channel update to just kind of talk about some of the things that have been going on. If you follow my channel, you probably have noticed that I haven't uploaded a battle report in, I don't know, a while. Um, no big reason for it. I've just been busy with work and traveling, and usually if I miss out on a Tuesday night, then it goes. There's a couple weeks right there between games. So anyway, there are some things that have been going on. I'm going to cover three in this update for those of you who are interested. Part one, I am the tournament organizer for Brawler Bash. Um, Brawler Bash, I think, has in the Mid-Atlantic region is got to be the biggest tournament historically. A couple years ago, I think we went about 2 years in a row getting over 80 players at it. 5 or 6 years prior to that, it was at 20. So there was a huge growth from a 25-man tournament up to an 85-man tournament. And then, of course, with the um, the end of 8th edition, it kind of crashed last year. I don't know how big it was, but I don't think it was nearly as big as it had been. And this year, we didn't know what to do. So obviously, we could have offered Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition, but nobody was really interested. I certainly wasn't. Um, we didn't know what game to focus on. So basically, what Ben Tweet and I and some others decided was to offer three games. We're going to offer the Ninth Age, going to offer Kings of War, and Malifaux. And we can fit 120 people in the store, so we allocated 40 spots to each of those three game systems. And um, the Ninth Age one is the only one that really took off. And so while I was a little bit bummed for those players that really wanted to play the other games, I was thrilled that the Ninth Age saw some popularity. I think Malifaux is pretty popular around here. I think it's just a different crowd, and they have a different tournament scene and different way of doing things. I think that's why I think they're maybe at 10 players or something. Kings of War had like 4, and they finally just canceled it. So the Ninth Age, we are by far the largest part. I think right at this moment there are 47 people who have said they're going to be there. Some of them haven't paid yet, so I think we always have some last minute drops, but I think we're getting a few people trickling in at the end. So I'm kind of hopeful we'll be around the 45, 50 person mark. I think that would be a phenomenal turnout for the first year of doing the Ninth Age. So very, very excited about that. If you live anywhere near North Carolina, I highly, highly encourage you to come out to the first major Mid-Atlantic Ninth Age Grand Tournament. 2 days, Saturdays, Sundays. Pretty good stuff. So very excited about that. The sad part is I won't be playing in it, so that means no battle reports. But that's okay. I like to be a TO once a year, and that'll be mine for this year. Part 2 of my channel update. So, as you know, if you follow my channel, I've been playing the Kingdom of Aquitaine in Warhammer Fantasy 8th Edition, that was known as Bretonnia, and I've been playing that for over a decade, I think. Several years ago, I picked up the old Beastmen army, which is now Beast Herds in the Ninth Age, and then again several years ago, I picked up Empire, which is now the Empire Sunstall army, and I'm happy with those three. I think in my mind, though, I always wanted to have even more. I've never wanted to have every army that Games Workshop had available in that game system. And now under the Ninth Age, I don't necessarily want every army there, but I like the idea of having access to a few more armies, and I've now picked up 3 more armies. So my list of my list of 3 has gone to 6. So the first one, here's a picture of my son who helped me unpack the box that arrived from Sweden. So there's a longtime follower of the channel. His name's Simon. I don't want to give his last name for privacy's sake. But for a variety of reasons, he was getting out of the hobby. I think he was moving and yada, yada, yada. And he felt that it wasn't a good time to sell. He wasn't going to get much for his army. So he literally contacted me and said, "May I please send you my Warriors of the Dark Gods army?" And I said, who am I to say no to something like that? I think it's awesome. Not only is it a free army, but I really do enjoy the models I have that were given to me by followers of the channel. I don't know if you've noticed that, but you see me playing games, I'll often point that out, and I'll usually try to find ways to incorporate these models. And so here there's a whole army, and this is one you can tell he's been playing for a long time. There are some models in this that are old, old, old. There's a lot of things that have been handmade. Not a lot of things, but some things. There's models from a variety of companies. I mean, just a lot of stuff. I have a few close-ups. This is my bin for the bigger things, and all of these things were broken in transit. So I'm excited to start playing with them, but I can't just throw this stuff on the table. It's going to take, what I need to do is decide what my list is going to be, and the list is, the only things that can be on the list are models that I have. I don't want to go out and buy anything else right now. I've got too many models as it is. But then I need to, for those models, I need to come in here and find them, and there's a lot of gluing that needs to be done and stuff like that. So there's that. Then I have the bin of all cavalry stuff. There is a ton of, well, there's dogs, there's fast cav, there's monsters cav, there's the regular cav. There's just a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, and there's more. Actually, not a ton of infantry, surprisingly, but certainly enough for one huge unit or a couple mid-sized units of the barbarians, and then just the regular knights, and then some schmancy ones. Yeah, so that's what I have model. I now have just probably as much stuff for Warriors of the Dark Gods, probably more stuff than I do for any of my other armies. So excited to play that. I think this is an army that has traditionally was, when people that played under Warhammer Fantasy played Warriors of the Dark Gods, whether they appreciated it or not, this was always a favorite army by Games Workshop. And now under the Ninth Age, we're trying to make all the armies equivalent. And so this is one that if people have been playing it for a long time, I wonder if they might be there might be a little transition period when when the army is brought down a little bit. I'm not saying that it's always been totally overpowered. Certainly there have been other armies that have surpassed it here and there, but it has consistently been one of the top armies. So I'm kind of glad I don't have to make that transition. I haven't really played it before, and I can approach it fresh, and I'm excited to have it. All right, that's army number 1, or army number 4, however you want to count it. Next up, Undying Dynasty. I have been saying for years, 3 years at least, that I wanted to start what used to be Tomb Kings and now is Undying Dynasties with the Ninth Age. So this army, I literally within 2 weeks of the email from Sweden, I got I was contacted by a guy here in the States who, I don't know how he got this. I wonder if he cleaned out a store, got this stuff cheap. Basically, he had a metric shit ton of Tomb Kings models. It was perfect for me. One, they were completely unpainted, which is nice because that way you don't have to try to match the painting style to, based on what you were trying to accomplish. But not only that, they were already assembled. Most of it was, which is awesome. There's 80 of these archers, and like there's no way I would have assembled 80 archers. The problem is there's no list I can think of where I want to field 80 archers. It's just too much shooting. I don't like playing against lists like that, but I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind playing this army. So, and then my wife got me an airbrush for Christmas, and so I was able to, I followed Vince Venturella's advice for using an airbrush to paint these guys, and they're not completely done yet. These 5 models are mostly done, but I want to age them a little bit more, and I don't know how to do it. Obviously, I haven't finished their basing yet, but I don't know how to age it. Like if you just bleach everything out as if the sun bleached it, then everything just looks the same color. I just don't want I like the blue. I just don't want to seem like they're a kid at the first day of school wearing brand new clothes. So I haven't decided yet how to do that. So that's roughly the color scheme it's going to be. But it matches with I'm trying to match it with this. The problem is the skeletons, you basically just see the blue, and these models focus a lot more on the red. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back one. The things that I'm painting as gems on the back of the quiver, and they have scarabs on the front on their chest basically. And in these 5 models I painted them green, and I'm going to change that and do paint them red to tie them in with this a little bit more. So this model on the right was custom made for me by Jack. He used to have a little company called Rothan Studio, and he made that for me. I mean, it's been again 2 or 3 years because he had heard that I wanted to start what was then a Tomb King's Army. So he built that, painted it for me, sent it to me for free. It's awesome. It's been sitting there inspiring me forever, but just I haven't got around to doing anything with the army. So now I'm excited to finally be able to pull that thing out. If you look at his basing, I'm going to try to imitate that on the whole army. It's just a lot more work than I'm used to doing, but I like it. The model on the left I bought and painted probably about a year ago, and there's that. So going back to Jack, he's too busy now to take any more orders from his own studio, and he has a full-time job. But if you want his stuff, by the way, there's a link there at the bottom where you can buy it through another company called Hexy, and you can access his stuff there. But just to show you also, this isn't the whole thing. I mean, there's like, what, 5 more of the big monsters. Like I said, there's 80 archers. There's at least, I think there's a dozen chariots. There's a smattering of the fast cav, some characters, and things I'm forgetting. There's just a lot of stuff. there's the old Casket of Souls model from, I think, from Games Workshop at the bottom left. It's huge. I have a ton of stuff. The problem here is painting this stuff is going to take a long time, and the thought of painting 80 archers is really demoralizing. Again, what I need to do is come up with a list and then paint everything in that list, and that'll give me something to shoot for, and everything else that's not in the list can just sit there for a while until I feel like getting around to it. Okay, so those are 2 armies. Army number 3, Vampire Covenant. This all fits in one box right now, and a lot of the big things are broken. This is a smattering of different armies that I cobbled together from different sources. A lot of this came from a buddy of mine who just got in the hobby, and he felt that prices were really cheap, so he went out and bought every army possible. And then he decided he didn't like the Vampire Covenant, the theme of it and the feel of it, and so I traded him some stuff and got this. You can't even see what's there. It's actually, this one is not as damaged as it looks like in this picture. The the model on the top left is damaged. The one on the bottom right needs to be painted, but for the most part, this is okay. And I also have a Games Workshop model, what's it called, the Coven Throne, that's unassembled, and the model on the bottom right is the same thing. So I'm excited to be able to build and paint that. So this one, I think I have enough to build an army, and much like the Warriors of the Dark Arts army, I wouldn't have to paint this from scratch. Over time, though, I would want to paint this more because, like I said, this is cobbled together from probably 3 or 4 different armies, and I would like it to look a little more consistent than it does now. So overall, it looks like that. I don't want any more right now. I don't have space for this stuff right now. In North Carolina, where I live, nobody has basements, and without a basement, I don't have a man cave, and I don't have a lot of storage stuff for all that space for all this. But I'm excited for it. The problem is all of these armies are new for me because of the Ninth Age being a relatively new rule set and new army books. And if I just bounce around between all of them, I'm never going to get good at any of them. So at some point, I might need to focus on one for a while and see, get it painted up and get some skill with it. And I don't know what order I'm going to do that in. All right, part 3. Another thing I've been busy with lately. Obviously, I have a lot of roles with the Ninth Age project, but one I've been doing right now, they're in the process of revamping all the books. So all the army books kind of got created and published a couple months ago, and then they've asked everybody to just go play test it. And now what they're doing, they're trying not to change much, but inevitably there are things that are just a little too good, and the power level between the books will never be perfect, but it's we want to get them as close as possible. So there's a big effort with the rules team and the balance board and the army book committees for every army meeting together and mostly trying to tone things down. And the things they're trying to tone down are things that are either too powerful or that really just aren't that fun to play against. So, and I want to give specifics, but we're any leaking of information, we want to come through official channels. So if you check out the Ninth Age blog posts, we have a sneak peek at the different armies, and it's been created for a lot of them, but not all of them. But almost inevitably, what you see happen is we'll post a sneak peek, and there'll be a day where there's not too much activity on the forums. People are just saying, "Huh, what's going on?" And then inevitably, you just have people freaking out, like, "Oh my gosh, I've been, there's a certain build I've been using, a certain type of list I've been using, and now it's not as powerful as it was," and they freak out. And then over time, everybody gets used to it, or at least most people get used to it, and it's business as usual and things go on. But it's pretty funny if you look at the number of posts in the forums and the tone of those posts, and certainly you have different cultures among the different armies, and that could be a whole speculative video right there. And I don't know why that would be, but there's some armies that just the community just seems to not like the changes made more than others. And it's not just one, it's like every time there are changes made, there's similar tones. And there's other army communities that just kind of roll with it and don't complain too much. So one thing that until about a week or so ago, I was very heavily involved in creating those sneak peeks, because I felt, and we all felt, that it would be better to let people see what changes are coming up and to explain the rationale behind a lot of the changes. And that's, if you look at the sneak peeks, that's what those are. It's not just, hey, this is how your army's changing, but this is kind of why we were looking at things. I can tell you that I've listened to 30 minutes of the conversation that happened on the Beast Herds book. I wasn't able to make that phone call as a member of the ABC, the Army Book Committee. But the sneak peek will have the same clip that I listened to. And I was listening to it, and I was like, I could hear people talking about, well, this thing is too strong. And my initial reaction was, but I love that thing. And then that happened, 3 or 4 things they talked about, I thought that. And then like the next day I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, I agree. I mean, those are things that, yeah, it was strong, but I could see people not wanting to play against it potentially being too strong. Yeah, it was funny, because what I see in the forums, I felt on a personal level with my own, my own baby, listening to people talk about it. So I've recently stepped away from doing those. It was way too time consuming. There's somebody else who had more time and is doing a good job with it. And yeah, currently I'm not spending quite as much time on the forums doing stuff with the Ninth Age. I've been spending a lot more time trying to get ready for Brawler Bash. And my hope in the future is to spend more time actually doing my own hobby. I feel like I've spent so much time at a high level with the Ninth Age trying to help this game make it and be successful and be something that we all want, that I'm not spending time actually enjoying it myself. Like, I'm not modeling and painting. I'm not playing as many games as I want to. So hopefully I'll be able to fix that and get back into it and post more content. So I think you can expect a lot of content from me over the next few months. I know that once the Army books are updated, which will happen, I think, in 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, at that point I'm going to be involved making videos for every army to talk about it unit by unit, what's there. Then after that, I want to start adding more to my tacticas, and throughout all of it, I want to get more battle reports in. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see my armies progress, especially if I pick up the Undying Dynasties, and you can see that being painted, kind of as it's done. So anyway, that's it for the channel update. Hope you enjoyed it.